Hi everyone, we are on our last session of the day. I'm Rachel, the online community manager for the Gypsy Nurse. If you missed the earlier sessions or yesterday's, you can find them on this page and in our article section of thegypsynurse.com. We would like to thank Travel Nurse Across America for sponsoring this event. Be sure to check out their agency profile and their jobs on thegypsynurse.com. For this session, we will be having Meagan Holloran discussing her hiking tips. We will also be giving away a $100 REI gift card to one lucky winner. So to be entered, you need to comment and ask questions to be entered to win the drawing. We'll announce it at the end. So I'm going to bring Meagan up so she can get started. Hi, Meagan.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for joining us. All right, I'm going to drop off now so you can get started.
All right, thanks. All right, guys, and this is hopefully going to be very just low-key. If you have any questions at any point in time, just let me know. I also talk fast, so if I'm talking too fast, just comment that I'm talking too fast, and I will do my best to reel it back in. About myself, as Rachel said, my name is Meagan. I've been a nurse for approximately 10 years. The last 3, I've been a travel nurse, traveling in pediatrics. I've been all throughout mostly the west side of the United States, and then just during my travel assignments, I've just found that I really enjoy hiking. I grew up in the Midwest, and there really aren't a lot of hills in the Midwest. And obviously right now is one of our strangest times we're all living in, and there's not much we can go do. We can't go to just the bar down the street or hang out at a friend's house like we would have before. So hiking has definitely been a good outlet during this time. You can still practice social distancing when you hike and just practicing your trail etiquette and everything. My first travel assignment that I really got into hiking was in Utah. If you haven't been to Utah, I highly recommend it. There are lovely national parks there. You have Moab, you have Zion, you have Bryce, and that's just 3. I think there's just 1 or 2 I can't think of right now. But Washington opened my eyes up to what's all out there. You have the North Cascades, you have the Olympic National Forest, you have Mount Rainier, and even a little bit further south, you have St. Helens, which heads into Oregon. You have Mount Hood in Oregon. There's so much in this little pocket right here, though. The one thing with hiking, though, I feel like some people does intimidate because there's such a wide range of things out there that we just don't know about until you really get out there and try it. Don't be afraid to push yourself. We all have our physical limits, though, too, so definitely learn how to read your body and know physically what your capabilities are to going out there and everything. You get to destination at one point or the other, whether you get there in a couple of hours or it takes you all day to get there, you get there. And the biggest thing about hiking I find is just the satisfaction of getting to the top of the mountain, seeing the view that you worked so hard for. And the biggest thing I feel like is you just say yes. You get out there, you see it, it's like, wow, I did this. I'm going to give some tidbits on how to pick a hike if you have any questions there. I found there's a really good app called All Trails. Basically, it's more of like a user platform in the sense of if I go hiking, let's say I do a hike and then I'd say do it tomorrow. And I comment on it and say, I did this hike and it was really muddy or it was really snowy, icy, and I can leave those tidbits for people that want to go the next day or that day so they can see current trail conditions, which is really nice. I can download a map so I have offline GPS access so I can track myself safely to see where I'm at on the trail and not getting lost, hopefully. Because as you know, on a lot of hikes, or if you don't know, cell service is very hard to find, but the GPS feature in your phone still does work, so you can keep yourself on the trail with that, hopefully. The National Park Services, they have really good resources too, whether it's on their website, even through Instagram has a few things. There's a lot of state sites. Washington has Washington Trails Association, and that one's also a very helpful one as well. Facebook pages are actually a really good resource too. Whether it's the travel nurse pages with your where you're working at right now. It's for me in Seattle, there's a Washington hikers and climbers Facebook page that people can comment on, send pictures, post hey, I'm looking for people to come join me hiking, which right now is not the best way to go about that with meeting random people. But you can see what hikes they've done, recommendations they have, things like that. There's also actually a Seattle travel nurses page specifically for Seattle travel nurses. And actually we started a hiking one someone I know did this summer. Even Phoenix has one. A lot of the bigger cities have their local state sites people or city sites people start up, so you can reach out to who's there currently and try and find someone that you could maybe still hike with and just social distance and keep that distance. Word of mouth is a really good one. coworkers I've talked to, when I was especially here last summer in Seattle, they always have tidbits on what they recommend on where to hike, what you should go do. I kind of mentioned it earlier, fitness level. Even if you're just a beginner, like anything, just ease your way into it. But like definitely muscle strength, your endurance, even balance and cardio come into play on hiking. A lot of the hikes too are labeled as easy, moderate, hard, so you can kind of get a feel. Okay, so if I want an easy hike today, or I know I'm not good at hiking, let's start on the easy ones, and you'll kind of find what you feel like you fit into category wise more, because usually I gear more towards the hard hikes. So I feel like sometimes the hard hikes even are maybe a moderate one for me more so. Really read the elevation gain, because length, let's say it could be 6 miles, but you gain, let's say it's 6 miles round trip. Let's say you gain 2,000 elevation gain. So you're going to go up 2,000 feet in 3 miles. And that's a pretty good steep incline. And the one nice thing too about the maps on all trails is when you download your map too, is you can take there's a cursor you can bring along the map, and you can see the elevation gain, like where does it gain, where does it plateau, and you can see the grade of the elevation gain. And that gives you really kind of a better idea before you get all out there what you're going to encounter a little bit easier too. Some places have fees, permits, or passes. There's one actually really big place out here called the Enchantments that if you want to camp, that you have to have like a permit or a core pass to camp overnight in these areas. A lot of states require those. A lot of cities do, and you can just go to your local state site, and they can really give you the information you need to go there prepared. It's usually just a couple bucks, but usually you can buy like an annual pass, and that saves you some money in the end. Definitely don't forget, whenever you do find your hike, you've picked it out, plan your day out, let someone know where you're going. That's the biggest tip I can recommend. Because I have gone solo and I've gone with friends. I do both. Tell someone your plans, whether you're going with a friend or not. So in case you don't come home by your expected ETA, you don't get lost out there. Someone's going to come find you. Don't forget the altitude again, the climbing, the elevation, and the heat. They'll impact how you feel in your hike, just like any other workout outdoors. The one thing too about the app, and keep going back to the All Trails app, is just a great resource. And I know there are others out there. I just haven't ventured out because I feel like I've gotten everything in that one little resource. It gives you an ETA of the hike. So let's say, it says you'll do X hike in 3 hours and 45 minutes. So I can tell so-and-so, hey, I'm leaving for this hike from my house around 9 a.m. It takes me an hour to get there. My ETA for the hike is 4 hours. So I should be home, let's say by 3 at the latest. So if you're not home by 3, someone could be like, okay, maybe we should, just get more on that. I don't know. And again, remember, rarely cell service. Check the weather before you leave, especially out in Pacific Northwest, because you'll get rain half the time. It might be a drizzle. So I always pack extra layers in my bag. Let's say it's, 90 outside and I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt or shorts and a sports bra. I always have a second layer of clothes in my bag, whether temperature drops at night. So I always have a rain jacket, a long sleeve, something, because you just never know what happens. So hiking essentials, I kind of mentioned clothes. The biggest thing is make sure you have the wick away stuff. Cotton just holds everything in. It gets you really uncomfortable. Middle layer, kind of more insulating stuff, like in your outer layer, just kind of keep it from the wind, shield yourself from the wind, rain. Socks, I really recommend wool socks. They do a great job of keeping your feet warm and dry. And then shoes, you don't have to have hiking shoes, but I think they're very beneficial, especially you really want to have shoes that have really good traction, especially with all the hiking out there. Just checking out our questions out there. A few comments. If you want me to elaborate anything I say at any point in time, please just comment, or again, slow down. Backpack wise, I actually just bought myself a new backpack. I bought a 35-liter backpack, and a lot of the bigger backpacks, they will tell you their capacity. They tell you their capacity based on liters. They'll go up into the 70s. They probably even go higher, honestly. And that capacity is me what I can relatively fit in there. That's it's a day pack / overnight pack to 1 or 2 days. So I can fit my water reservoir in there, so I can have water on my back with that little straw at all times. I have a 3-liter one that I always fill up, whether I'm going on a short hike or long hike, because you always want to bring extra water with you in case you do get lost or get stranded, which isn't likely, but stuff happens. Extra food. I bring things like Cliff Bars, nuts, dried fruits, anything that's really much more the non-perishable side. I will bring fresh stuff sometimes too, though. First aid basics, your Band-Aid, your Neosporin, your Motrin. So coming about my water, I use a bladder or a water reservoir. Camelback is a brand that you can look up. Amazon has stuff on like REI. They come in like sizes from like 1 liter to 3 liters I've seen. I use a 3 liter one, and I feel like I always have plenty of water for that hike for the day. It keeps it nice and cool in there, and that way it's not like you're having a water bottle to put your backpack down, dig it out, and get it out. I bring bug spray because bugs are horrible. And actually, I always have bear spray. I don't expect to run into a bear, but the last thing I want to do is run into a bear and not be prepared. Headlamp or a flashlight in case you do hike and it starts to get dark outside so you can see where you're going and get back to your car safely. A knife, a fire starter. Again, those are things that I have more so in case something happens I don't expect to happen because I am not an overnight camper. I'm a day camper. Emergency shelter. Again, I have a space blanket in my bag. I bought a pack of 10 for $10 on Amazon. So it's a bucket blanket. I'm like, just in case something happens, or maybe I decide to swim in a lake on my hike. And that way I have a blanket to warm up if it gets too cold outside or something. A tent's always a good thing too, but I'm thinking more like temporary overnight stuff. Again, extra layers. I always pack extra socks, an extra shirt, shorts. I even pack gloves and ear warmers, even if it's the summer, because you just never know if it's going to get cold. I don't want to be SOL. I have hiking poles. I just got some actually this summer for the first time. I think for everybody it's user specific. I don't hate them, but I'm not like I have to have them at this point in my life. I think it depends on what kind of hike you're going to do. They're really good for your knees, I was told, and going down especially. So yeah, it depends on the hike and the elevation gain and everything. Some tidbits, not forget, make sure you pack it in, pack it out. You don't want to leave any trace. So one thing I didn't mention to pack is toilet paper. I bring toilet paper on every hike, my hand sanitizer, and a little Ziploc bag to put dirty stuff in because you don't want to leave any TP out on the trail. That is just wasteful and littering. So make sure you can leave no trace, pack it in, pack it out. Pace yourself, take breaks. I know for myself, pacing myself is quite a challenge, so that could be something you need to find for yourself, be harder to work on. Never venture off the trail, not so much more for safety, but also for the environment as well. As few as like 25 steps, and the environment can actually kill the plants around you. That's not what we want to do. What you do so slower hikers in the group, that is a challenge. So the largest group I usually go in is 2 or 3, and I try and know who I'm with because I'm a fast hiker, and that's challenging. And to me, if you have a group, you stay with your group. You don't leave someone behind because what something happens? What if they trip and hurt their ankle? You have no cell service. You stay with them. That's just how it goes. It's safety in numbers. So I try and find someone definitely who we're all a cohesive pace. I actually have 2 girlfriends right now, Becca and Morgan, that we do a great job of actually pacing each other out, and it works out pretty well. Test your gear. Try out your shoes, try out your backpack. If you have a tent, make sure, it pops up before you get out there, things like that. You don't want to get out there in the wild and then it doesn't work. Again, extra food and water, even though you want to plan enough for the day, you want to plan extra in case something does happen and you get lost, you get injured, whatever that may be. One thing I kind of wanted to mention, kind of why I love hiking, I feel like you kind of learn to live in the moment more so because you are out in the wilderness. You don't have cell service. It forces you to relax and notice what's around you easier. Hiking with friends is awesome. You get memories together, you have experiences, you have good ones, you have bad ones, and they are lasting memories. Gives you a chance if you go solo or even with friends to reconnect, take time to yourself. You do learn your limits, and you can push your limits too. And it's a really good fitness workout. I definitely have some stories I could share about some experiences this summer that some went really well and some didn't. it's definitely trial and error if you've never done it before, or if you've done it before, you go out once, you realize, okay, maybe I should have brought this on my hike. Or say, you know what, I don't need all this crap. I'll leave this behind next time and take something else. I went on one hike this summer that I was too soon for the path. There was a bunch of snow on it. And that one, I realized that was my limit. I couldn't hike in the snow. I didn't have micro spikes or poles, and those were things for that hike I would have needed. So me and my friends, we attempted the hike, realized it was out of our comfort zone, turned around and went home. I do have some photos to share. They're in PowerPoint, so if you guys can't see them well, let me know. Share screen. So these are from some of my favorite hikes, actually. This one is from Ptolemy Peak in Mount Rainier. This one I did last year. It's just such a pretty view of Mount Rainier, and it's actually a moderate hike. It's around like 4 to 5 miles, 1,400 elevation gain. So to me, it's a pretty doable beginner hike for a lot of people. That lake down there, actually, you do walk the path up to the lake and kind of go up the mountain behind and just get to take in Mount Rainier. And since it's an outlook, it's a fire lookout. It's not actively used, I don't believe, anymore, but you get a 360 view up top. This is also Mount Rainier. It's a different hike in the national park. It's Crystal Lakes. This one's a little bit harder of a hike, but still rated as moderate. Again, it's such a pretty view, and the water is gorgeous. This was one of my favorite hikes in Washington. This is Kolchak. It's part of the Enchantments, which is like a 20 to 24 mile hike. It's out in Leavenworth, Washington. So it's about 2 to 2.5 hours outside of Seattle, but just the water is just unreal. This one is a picture from Mailbox, and this on the other side of what we're looking at from us like sitting by the mailbox, you can see Mount Rainier from this one. This one is definitely a butt kicker, and I would recommend trying some easier hikes before you attempt this one. But the views are worth it. This one I can't pronounce. It's like Milwaukee Lake. It's out in Washington as well. But again, the water's what gets me. This is Blanco Lake. I did this again just this past weekend. And it's a harder hike. You gain about 3,400 elevation in like 4.5 miles. But the water, it's actually pretty interesting. The water, I guess it's glacier salt is what turns the water and changes it, why it's that color blue.
Hey, Megan, we're not seeing it yet. So I think you need to hit screen share again.
Did it go away? Let me just leave it here then. So I tried to do presentation view, and that may have taken it away.
Do reader view at the bottom. It looks like a little book. It should open it up, but I'm not seeing the screen share come up on here.
You see it right now?
No. Click the screen share at the bottom again.
Okay.
And there should be.
And then are you seeing the pictures or no?
I can see them now. So we'll bring it up.
Okay, so this one here, I'll start talking again at the beginning. This one is Ptolemy Peak. It's in Mount Rainier, which is in Washington. It's just an evening hike that I did. It's just a gorgeous view. It's a moderate hike. It's like 4 miles, 4 to 5 miles, like 1,400 elevation gain. So it's a nice moderate hike. Highly recommend that one. This one is also in Mount Rainier. It's a different one. It's called Crystal Lakes. This one's also a moderate hike. It's about 8 miles. And I want to say it ends up being about 2,000 elevation gain in the end. So definitely you get your elevation up there. The views are why I hike for sure. Like the workout's awesome out of it, but I love to see nature. This is Kolchak. This is about 2.5 hours outside of Seattle, Washington, and Leavenworth. It's part of what's called the Enchantments, which is 3 separate hikes built in one. This is one part of it called Kolchak. It's about 4.5 miles to the lake, so about almost 9 round trip. It's a harder hike, but again, that color is it's just unreal. This one is Mailbox. This one's also outside of Seattle. So you can see Mount Rainier from this one, but not in the picture. I put up here. This one's definitely a harder hike. It's about 4,000 elevation gain. It was one of my first hikes of the year this year, and it's definitely a butt kicker. This one's Blanco Lake, and it's about an hour outside of Seattle. This one is Blanco Lake. It's about 2 hours outside of Seattle, and the water is actually blue because of glacier salt. I guess in the back here, this thing is considered a glacier, so the salt somehow runs off into the water, making it that blue color. This was my favorite hikes. It's Maple Pass. It's in the North Cascades. It's a moderate hike. It's just beautiful. You get like basically 360 views of the Cascades almost the whole time you're hiking. This picture here was probably about July this year. And the snow actually in Washington's melting really late this year. So there was still quite a bit of snow up top. And on the pass, we got to have a little bit of an experience on this hike actually, but it was so worth it. This one actually is Death Valley. I highly recommend Death Valley. I think it's underrated. This is the salt flat. So that in the ground, what you're seeing there, just like the little changes in the soil, it's just all rock. This is in Arizona. It's the Lost Dutchman. This is also in Arizona. It is up in Sedona. It's called Devil's Bridge. This is actually a really easy hike for really killer views as well. This is also in Arizona. It's on the way from Phoenix to Tucson. It's like Pikachu, I believe is how you pronounce it. It's a really cool one too. This is Moab, which is in Utah. And then Zion, which is in Utah as well. Do you guys have any questions? Ask about the East Coast. I have actually not traveled to the East Coast as a travel nurse yet. So mostly everything that I have is all West Coast. I haven't yet decided to venture that way. Does anybody have any questions though? No, that's about all I have. All right, well, we will bring Rachel back on and she can do the little raffle for.
All right, so we have, let me do my little number generator. And, oh, right. We have is Michelle Miller. So Michelle, just go ahead and message us on the fan page and we will get that sent out to you. And we want to thank Megan for coming on. A lot of great tips, a lot of things like I haven't been camping yet. And there's a lot of like things that I wouldn't even think about, you know, bringing earmuffs. I know I've been like kind of in the West Coast before where I had no idea. I'm Northern Indiana. So I had no idea that like it gets cold because, you know, you always think it's going to be sunny.
You do. So, and especially in the Northwest, it'll rain. So it'll be cloudy. So it'll get just cold enough that you're starting to freeze. So I don't think it's cold easily. So I always prefer to have extra layers just in case.
Yeah. And that's.
Guys, think of any questions or anything you want to ask me. You definitely can message me on Instagram or probably through the Gypsy. I don't know how it all sets up afterwards. But just reach out to me.
Yeah, you can ask comments in this comment section. We'll leave, it's going to stay up. So if you have any questions, just put it there. And then we'll link Megan's Instagram on there. So that way, if you want to message her or anything like that, you can go ahead and ask her. She has a lot of great experience, amazing pictures. You know, that's just a few that's on her Instagram. So I love seeing her stuff. And that's why I reached out to her and see if she wanted to do this because I love seeing her pictures. All right. Well, thank you so much again. And you guys can watch this later on.